Well, if it's Wednesday morning, it is time for the About Mansfield Consumer Advice Series. This is your Wednesday morning 10-minute nugget of information. I got my coffee cup right here, which means you can go out and get yourself your coffee cup. It is time for your coffee break. We'll get you back here in about 10 minutes. As we do every Wednesday morning, we bring in our trademark attorney. That would be Susana Mahady, and we talk about a myriad of topics related to trademarks. And today, this is a great topic, by the way, trademarks that lost protection because they became generic terms. First of all, good morning.
Good morning.
And say hello to the Mansfieldians and beyond.
Good morning, everyone. I hear it's been a little chilly in Mansfield.
And hail.
Hail. Wow.
Yes. Who predicted that? I don't know.
I don't know, but it doesn't sound pleasant. I'm nice and toasty in my little office with my heater full blast. So
nice.
Can't relate.
Today, I've actually thought about this over the years and I love that you're bringing this to the table today. Trademarks that lost protection because they became generic terms. The first thing that came to mind was aspirin, and
definitely one.
So I'm just going to go ahead and leave it up to you. Let's get into it. That how does a term become generic, and then how do they lose protection as a result of that?
Well, it's funny because I was trying to think, last night I was like, well, what's a good topic to bring up at this podcast today? And I remember I was like looking for tissues, and it's like I said, I'm going to go grab a Kleenex. And I thought, wait a minute, I don't even know if these are Kleenex brand. And I thought, gosh, that's so funny how we all do that. Or we all say, let's Google it, when we want to look for something. And so it's just a perfect example. And that's kind of what triggered the topic for today, is how we all are so used to using brand names generically. I mean, we tend to forget that what the actual product is called versus what the brand of the product is. And there's a big difference for that. So, obviously we've talked about trademarks. So when you register the trademark with the Patent and Trademark Office, you have protection, right? So you can use it exclusively, and you can renew it every 10 years and it's yours. But if people start using your name incorrectly or your brand incorrectly, then it could cause your trademark protection to be lost. It could invalidate the trademark. And that's why some companies are so aggressive in protecting their brand, to make sure that they don't lose their protection and they don't become generic terms and consequently result in invalidation of the mark.
You sent me a video, which I thought was pretty funny. It was actually kind of a Broadway musical type of video that, if I recall, the title of it was "Don't Call It Velcro."
Don't say Velcro.
Don't say Velcro, because you know what? I need a hook. What's it? Hook and something.
It's hook and loop. Like, who would have thought that that's what that's called? And so I thought it was a very creative way for Velcro, the brand, to convey the message that, and it was a parody basically. And it's the lawyers created this musical video of them explaining why they don't want people to say Velcro when they're talking about Velcro shoes or Velcro. There's different items that we all refer to as Velcro, and they said it's actually hook and loop. Like, that's what the fasteners are. And by saying Velcro, you're kind of diluting the brand, and that's what their message is, but in a very funny musical way.
Yeah. So if you the viewer or the listener, if you have a chance to go on YouTube, and if you want to, it only takes a couple of minutes. Don't say Velcro. It's pretty funny.
So how then,
and I guess this would be an example how then does a business try to not lose?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are very various ways to do it. Obviously, one is to make sure that you're consistently using your brand properly, and you are educating the public about the proper use of your trademark, emphasizing that it's a brand that you're protecting. Another way, obviously, is monitoring and enforcing your brand, and we've talked about this. This could include sending cease and desist letters to people who may be improperly using your brand so that they can stop using it in that way. So there are different ways, but it's really just protecting and monitoring. And I think Velcro did a really good job with this video that they put out there to let people know that they're serious about making sure that the brand name, which is Velcro, is protected. It's not the product that's Velcro, it's the brand.
Right. And so last night, was it a Kleenex?
It was a Kleenex, actually.
And Kleenex, right? Kleenex is a universal term. Is there the possibility that they could lose protection?
Well, it depends on how, there are a lot of brands that are incorrectly being used that are out there and could lose protection. It just means that they just haven't been challenged. So if they get challenged and then it goes through the process with the, Patent and Trademark Office, then they have the burden to prove that they have not lost, their distinctiveness, and they should be still protected. But there are brands that have lost their protection and have been invalidated. Like you mentioned, aspirin is actually one of them. It was invalidated back in 1921.
Wow.
And that was because so many people were using that brand name to describe pain relieving medication. And so they lost it. And then I can give you some other examples that I thought were really interesting when I was looking this up.
Please do.
Thermos is one. We all say, let's get me a thermos, or I have my soup in a thermos. But Thermos Company is actually a brand, and they lost their protection back in 1963. Another really common one is escalator. We all say escalator for every moving staircase, and that brand was owned by the Otis Elevator Company, and they lost protection because people were commonly using that brand name to describe every moving staircase there was. Another common one is Zipper. We all use Zipper.
Zipper was a brand name.
Yeah.
So I was thinking escalators go up and down. What about the moving sidewalks at the airport?
I don't know what people refer. I mean, I think they're probably still some type of escalator, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Zipper, escalator, aspirin. What else? Anything else on your list?
There's like cellophane. That's a brand that was invalidated. Or linoleum. Those are all brand names that we now use generically to refer to an item or a product.
So again, to bring this all back together, to recap, again, how can someone protect their brand so that they don't lose it because it became a generic term?
You just have to monitor, and you just, make sure that people are, not using it as a verb or a noun, which is what's been happening with a lot of these things, for like Google, for instance. And I don't know if anyone's ever going to challenge Google because it could be a costly endeavor, but those are all items that diminish the importance of the brand name that needs to be protected. So monitoring is always good, and making sure that you educate and you enforce your rights to your brand.
In the minute or so that we have left, do you want to close with anything, or should we get right into your contact information?
I think we get right in to my contact information.
Okay.
I think we've covered this pretty well.
If someone wants to reach out to Susana M. Mahady and talk about trademark law, how do they get a hold of you?
They can reach me through my website, which is www.mahadylaw.com, and that is spelled MAHADYLAW.com. Or you can email me directly at smahady@mahadylaw.com.
Susana, my coffee cup is now empty. My 10-minute coffee break is over, as is the viewers or the listeners. That is another 10-minute nugget of information. We do this every Wednesday morning live on Facebook. You can watch the video on YouTube or LinkedIn. You can listen to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Susana, let's do it again next week.
Thank you. Stay warm, everyone.